Good evening. Hello. So today for our bedtime stretch class, we will be using a couple of different props. If you don't have any of these, do not worry. Prop number one is a chair that you sit down in, preferably like a dining room chair or a folding chair, one that's not soft and cushiony like a sofa. And the other prop is your mat. And if you don't have a mat, also don't worry, a blanket, a towel. If you have carpet, a carpet will do just fine as well. And the other prop, which might be a little bit more difficult to find around the house if you have them, is a tennis ball. So we'll be using a tennis ball to do some releasing work, and I will be doing modifications so you can partake in class without a tennis ball as well. Let's get started. Hot, all right. So let's come to our chair. We're going to start standing today. Oh, and I'm not going to chop off my head. All right. All righty. So there we go. We are going to start with our tennis ball on the ground and just massaging the foot. So just rolling it back and forth on the middle part of your foot. So kind of in between those toe pads or the ball of the foot and the heel of the foot. And take note what areas feel a little alerting or what areas are speaking to you in a deep way, and spend a moment there. The more weight you put on that foot that you're rolling, the deeper the massage. And the less weight, the more superficial the massage. So you can play with putting all of your weight on that or almost none of the weight, getting into different tissues, muscles, and tendons of the bottom of the foot. And holding on to the chair for support, we're going to place our toes, or like the ball of the foot, on the tennis ball. The heel is going to stay planted on the ground, and we're just going to go back and forth over the ball. Getting into that part of the foot. Feeling like the metatarsals are being spread open. More space is being created in the foot. Taking the stress that if we're on our feet often, or if you've been taking long walks, this is your opportunity to pay your feet back for working so hard. And now we are going to place the heel right at the junction of where the heel pad starts and the middle of the foot ends. We're going to place the ball right there, keeping the toes planted on the ground, and we're going to go back and forth. This one I find really helpful. All right, and we go to the other side. So just a general massage in between the ball of the foot, in between the heel. And when you start feeling ready, start adding more weight to that foot and get a little deeper. This is a great opportunity to just be breathing. We're working on a foot, so that means that our shoulders can be relaxed, our jaw can be relaxed. You don't have to be gripping anywhere in particular. And once you've gotten into the middle of that foot in a nice solid way, plant the heel on the ground and go back and forth. And when you're ready, plant the toe on the ground and put that ball right in that sweet spot in between the middle of the foot and the heel of the foot and go back and forth. And maybe dig into one area that is speaking a little more than the rest of the foot. And when you're ready, you can come out of that. We're going to place the ball to the side. We're going to take a seat on the chair. And we'll do one more thing with each foot, crossing the foot up and over, threading your fingers through the webbing of your toes, and just find a little point and flex. The ball should have hopefully opened up most things, and this just helps open up the toes a little bit, the very, very distal ends. And you can circle one way. You can circle the other way. And just pulling each toe gently out individually. Good. Other side. Crossing the leg up and over. Threading the fingers between each of the toes. And finding a little rotation one way. You will probably want to wash your hands after this class, and rotating the other way. And a little pull of each toe. Good. Now we're going to come to the ends of our chair, sitting up nice and tall. And we're going to bring one leg up and over, flexing that foot, sitting up nice and tall, maybe even giving that knee, that thigh just a little press down, and hinge forward. Feeling that glute, the rotator area of the body. Say, thank you for that stretch. Or if it's like mine, it screams at you. And we will be here. Let's take 6 deep breaths today. And go a little deeper and release out of it. Other side, crossing the foot up and over. Sitting up nice and tall. Flexing this foot and hinging forward. And take a minute to feel if there's any asymmetries happening in your body today. There probably is, and that is just because you are human and none of us are actually symmetrical. And 6 deep breaths here. I'm going to remind myself And you can remind yourself that just because this is generally a little bit more intense, we are focusing on this area, which means that we can actually release our jaw. I just caught myself clenching, and so I want to remind myself that I'm allowed to relax my jaw when we're stretching our glutes. And go a little deeper. And release. We're going to go into our supported lunge now. So we're going to work on releasing the front of the hips. So let's swizzle to the side of the chair, get to the end. One hand holds the back of the chair, and one leg presses outside to that nice supported lunge. Now, you can play with keeping this leg that's extended bent or straight. You can play with that. You can even play with reaching up and over if you want to go a little bit deeper. And we'll be here for 6 big breaths. And release. And let's come to the other side. Coming to the end of that chair, holding onto the back of it, and pressing one leg back. Adjusting yourself so you're in the right position, and playing with either keeping that leg extended and long or bent. If it's bent, think about tucking that pelvis under to get nice and deep into that hip flexor psoas area. If you want to go a little bit deeper, reach the arm up and over. And 6 big breaths here. And release. Whew, coming to sit up. Let's hold on to the bottom of our chairs and bring the head over to one side. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and on the exhale, circle around to the other side. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and on the exhale, circle to the other side. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and on the exhale, circle to the other side. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and on the exhale, circle to the other side. One more time each side. Inhale, exhale, Inhale. And on the exhale, circle to the other side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale, circling to the center. Bringing the head back up. Good. One more thing, sitting up nice and tall. Let's make our stance nice and wide. Let's put our hands behind our head, clasping our fingers. We're going to take an inhale in, sitting up nice and tall. And on the exhale, let's tuck our chin into the chest and come forward. Inhale here. And on the exhale, let's see if we can go a little bit further down, stretching out the back. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale, go a little deeper. Inhale. And on the exhale, go a little bit deeper. Release the hands to the thighs and roll up. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, hands at the back of the head. Exhale, tucking the chin to the chest and looking down. Inhale. Exhale, going down a little deeper. Don't pull your head down with your hands. Let the stretch come from the back. The hands are just a little bit of weight. You could even do this with your hands on your legs if it's too much. And one more. Inhale. Exhale, go a little deeper. Place the hands down, rolling up. All right, so you're going to now come to the collarbone and put your hands right under the collarbone. And like you're going to pull the skin down. And now we're going to stretch the front of our neck away from that. And you should feel the fascia of the front of the neck stretching. And you can play with where your hands pull down and stretch in opposite direction of that. And releasing back to neutral. Other side. Pulling the skin down and stretching opposite it. And play with having the mouth open and closed here. It will affect the stretch. And release. Give that a little shake out. Those sensations are pretty intense. And now we're going to give the tops of the shoulders a little rub down. Oh. Giving little squeezes to that muscle. Those traps. Oof. When I squeeze it, I feel it all the way up into my ears. That's telling me that my neck is a little bit tight. Neck and upper back. All right. Whew. Let that go. And the other side, giving the top of that kind of shoulder neck area a little massage, a little rub down. And start with a nice general squeeze, and then as your body feels ready, go into a little bit more of a direct squeeze to certain parts. You can always play with moving your head around. That will change the fibers under your hands. All right, whew, and let that go. Let's come to our mats. We'll have our chair right here at the end of the mat. We will be laying down and relaxing like we do at the end of every class. All right. So going back to our glutes, we're going to take our tennis ball and we're going to stick it under one glute and just lay back and roll around. Maybe move this leg up and down. And if you're nice and tight like me, that glute is speaking to you loud and clear, finding areas, and maybe find an area that kind of goes, whoa, to you. And let's take 3 deep breaths there and see if we can relax and yield and give into this tennis ball. Instead of tensing away from it, can we melt ourselves into it? And can you release a little bit more? Can you relax into it a little bit more? And one more. And let's find one more spot on this glute. Okay. And exhale and melt. And 3 of these. And sometimes back issues, tight back, sore lower back, all of those things, sometimes that comes from tight glutes. Melting around that tennis ball. And come off of it. And just give that glute a little shake out, a little easy rub down. Holy smokes. All right. Who knew a little tennis ball could bring so much pain? All right, and the other side, just giving it a general little roll around, seeing where those tender or tight areas are, and finding a spot. Inhale, and exhale and melt into it. And finding one more spot. Inhale and exhale, melting around that tennis ball. This is a great moment to remind yourself that your jaw is relaxed. The neck is relaxed. Give the head a little shake. The hips are relaxed. The more you relax, the more weight you give into that tennis ball. One more inhale in. And an exhale. And release off of that. Oh, give that a little wiggle out, wiggle down. Placing the tennis ball under the calf. Now, if you don't have a tennis ball with you, with the glutes, you could have been doing a glute stretch. With this calf, we're going to do a little calf massage out. You can stand behind your chair and stretch out the backs of your calves. And for the calf, we're just going to put the tennis ball under the calf and roll back and forth. Playing with different areas of the muscle, playing with giving the leg different weights. I notice that when I'm more on the inside of my calf, I can give it a little bit more weight. When I'm directly in the center of the muscle, I need to ease off on the weight and pressure I give myself. You might be different. I'm just telling you what I'm noticing in my own body right now. Good. And come off of the tennis ball, and let's just all brush up the calf. So giving our veins a momentary break. So all of those veins that bring the blood from the feet all the way back to our heart have such a hard job working against gravity. So by doing this, giving these little squeezy brush ups, you're just making life a little bit easier for your cardiovascular system a little bit. And the other calf, giving it a little roll out with that tennis ball. Noticing where you can add pressure, noticing where you're tight, noticing where you don't even want to go there maybe, and that's okay. And coming off of that tennis ball and giving those squeezes up the calf. It's like you're applying lotion very aggressively, only on your calf though. All right. Let's do one more stretch for the front of the leg. We did this one last week, and I will dig a little bit deeper into it. So we have one leg bent and our back foot is flexed. Our other leg is going to come on top of it as a weight. If you don't feel this, come a little bit back on your hands. Give your glutes a little squeeze and press your hips forward. The more you press this hip forward, the more you're going to feel this foot put pressure into your thigh. And that should create a nice stretch for the front of the leg. And let's do 5 breaths here. And on your 5th breath, on the exhale, release the glute and let's switch sides. So our back leg is bent and the foot is flexed. Our top leg comes up and over. We come back onto the palms. And if you don't feel a stretch, tighten your glute, send those hips forward, and the more you send the hips forward, the more the top heel presses into the thigh, and hopefully you start feeling the front of the leg open up. 5 breaths here. And release. Good. We will do a couple of twisting type exercises to get into the back, and then we will end with a nice kind of relaxation pose. So, twisting, we've done this before. We come onto our back, we go up and over. So we have our bottom arm is outstretched. Let's bring our top arm to meet it. You choose your own breaths. The important thing is you're drawing big circles with that top arm, taking moments. If you find an area that feels a little stretchy or sticky, take a big exhale there and continue on your journey. 3 circles of the arm in one direction, 3 circles of the arm in the other direction, and then we'll all switch sides together. Here we go, inhaling in. And on the exhale, start a nice big circle. And when you're ready, 3 circles in the other direction. Good. And turn onto your back and turn onto the other side. The same thing this way. 3 in one direction, 3 in another. And if you need a moment to do 4, then do 4. And when you've done 3 in one direction, let's do 3 in the other. And coming up and out of it. All right. So let's come to a little child's pose quickly. And I want to do mine with wide knees, forehead on the ground. Seeing if we can imagine the forehead and the sacrum and the sit bones getting pulled in opposite directions, creating more space in that spine. And we'll be here for 5 big breaths. And coming out of that, we have one arm that goes up, and we thread it through that hole, getting that whole arm on the ground, getting some stretching out along that side. 5 breaths here. And coming out of that into the other side. Arm comes up and it threads right through. Oh, and release out of that. Staying seated either on your knees, cross-legged, standing, whatever feels good. Clasping the hands behind the sacrum like so. So I'm going to take a moment here to roll the shoulders back, pressing those fingers down to the ground and opening up the front of that body. And release. I'll do that one more time with 3 big breaths, clasping those hands, pointing them down, root or guiding them down to the ground, opening that chest, expanding. And release. Give those shoulders a little roll. We are going to move over to our chairs now. So we're going to lay down. We are going to use our chair and our tennis ball. If you don't have a tennis ball, don't worry. We will use that in 1 second. So keep it at arms. Make sure you can reach it. We're going to get ourselves set up. So shins on the chair. You're laying down, hands clasped behind the head. And lay that head out nicely. All right. So before we go into some deeper kind of relaxing things, postures, let's bring our hands to the tops of the thighs and press down. We're going to inhale in and exhale, press down, seeing if the top of our head and our thighs can go in opposite directions. Inhale, release. Exhale, press down. Inhale, release. Exhale, press down, physically making more space in your spine. And release. Hands behind the head. Take an inhale in. And on the exhale, let's see if we can pull the head out an extra inch. Inhale, release. And exhale, pull the head. And one more. Inhale. Exhale to pull. And let's wrap the arms around you, seeing if we can get that back open on the ground. And now let's open up the arms to that cactus-like position, letting that front of the body melt off the front of the body melt away. And if you have a tennis ball, grab the tennis ball and just place it at the back of your head where you balance on it nicely. And just let that ball support the head. And you can now place your arms wherever you want, either by your side, palms up, in that cactus position, crossed around your body. And we'll just be here for 5 big, slow breaths to end our class. On every inhale, think of a body part. And on every exhale, release that body part. And you can remain here for as long as you need. And if you're ready to get on with your evening, you can remove the tennis ball from under your head. Gently open the eyes. Turn onto your side in a little fetal position. Place the top hand flat on the ground and press up until you're seated. Well done. Thank you all so much for joining your bedtime stretches for Wednesday evening. My name is Haylee Nichele, and I've written this in a few places, but all donations made in kind of my rogue YouTube live classes, bedtime stretches, and Pilates Friday mornings, donations today and Friday will be going to Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. And next week we will find another charity to spread our community love to. Have a great night. Thank you so much for joining me.